What's going on, team? It's your boy G, and we back at it again with another review, man. In today's review, we're going to be covering Thor Love and Thunder. Now, going into this movie, man, I was super nervous. I'm gonna be real. I was excited, but it was like,
am I scared? Nah, I'm scared.
coming off of Ragnarok, and then, you know, Endgame, it was prime time for us to see what Thor has been up to. But I'm gonna be real, y'all, I'm disappointed. I'm gonna be straight up. I know I'm gonna get into more of like why some of the things I did like in the movie, but just to keep it short and simple to start, man, like this movie could have been so much better, bro. And for me, like one of the biggest things going into this movie was the fact that Thor Love and Thunder is only going to be as good as its villain. And they nerfed this man so bad, bro. And I'm gonna get into that in the character breakdown, but Gore.
The butcher coming.
Gore the God Butcher. Christian Bale. Like, come on, man.
That's why he's the GOAT.
Such an opportunity for them to go all in with Gore. I mean, you got Gore and Thor. They rhyme, bro. They rhyme. But it just fell flat, bro. And I'm gonna get into that as well. But I'm not gonna fake, bro. This movie was still fun to watch, at least for me. They've referenced two major Thor runs in this movie, from Gore the God Butcher to Mighty Thor. If you ask me, it's very, very ambitious, but that also led to delayed disappointment. So this movie just really emphasized phase 4 lack of direction
To this day.
because a lot of times it was just like all over the place. But the movie itself still looked amazing, and it had its funny moments, but it wasn't, you know, Marvel funny, like as far as the jokes, you know. So I don't want to waste no more time, man. Let's get right into the character breakdown because I have words. Alright, y'all, so we have to talk about Thor first, right? Chris Hemsworth. Goal was set early for him to go on a journey of finding himself, right? That was the premise of this movie that we got in the trailer. But once we got into the thick of the movie, his secondary trope, which turned into basically the main one, was him learning how to love again. Because as we know, man, Thor has been through it. He lost his brother, he lost his mother, he lost his father, he lost his sister that he didn't even really know for real.
Tiana, Khadijah, Lenny Carvel, him, her, him, bodies.
And this was his moment to shine. This was his moment to show us who he really is, man. We didn't get that. I'm gonna be real. We didn't get that, bro. So for them to set such a high priority in him learning how to find himself again, by the end of the movie really see no real growth, it was disappointing, bro. I'm gonna be real. Now, if there was some legendary feats that went along with that to help mitigate that lapse in substance, I would have been, you know, I would have been a little bit cooler on it. But Thor is just falling into the background, bro, and it's just really showing like how much we need Marvel to establish the big thing, whether it's Secret Wars or Galactus. Like, we need to know something so that major characters like Thor go out sad like this, bro, because I love Thor as a character, but like his movies, bro, be real hit and miss.
That's a fact.
And it's looking like he's better off used as a plot device, as the muscle, because we're not really getting that much from him on the character development side, at least in my opinion. Now, next up, we got to talk about Jane Foster, aka Mighty Thor, aka Natalie Portman, aka they keep killing Padme off, bruh.
Are you trying to hurt my feelings?
And I don't appreciate that. Now, granted, I know the story of Jane Foster becoming Thor and her having her whole run in the comics, right? So I knew going into this, there was going to be a possibility of her dying, right? But for me, bro, I wanted something multiversal, you know, and maybe we're spoiled because of what we saw in Doctor Strange and No Way Home, but I thought we were going to get to see like maybe a variant of Jane that was Thor, that, and all this will go back to like just there being multiple universes and realities and things like that. But nah, man, we didn't get that. We did get to see Darcy for a brief moment to help express how Jane was feeling dealing with stage 4 cancer and trying to come up with a cure. I really would have wanted to see her get more shine as Thor. Not saying that she didn't get that in this movie, but I wanted to see her really thrive as Thor in New Asgard and get a real glimpse of what it would look like if Jane was Thor. Like, what's the first thing she would do?
I'm going to Disney World.
and it really just felt rushed, and I just was like, dang. Jane knows she has cancer, doesn't really want to tell anybody, but she's gonna beat her head up against the wall until she figures something out, and kind of just focus on the negative rather than how being Thor really makes her feel in context of everything that we know about her up until this point. So at this point, the two main characters in this movie, bro, it's not looking good. And then we got the big bad, Gore.
The butcher coming.
Not Gore the God Butcher, Gore, because there was no butchering going on.
You ain't bad. You ain't nothing.
Now this is something that I talk about a lot when it comes to Marvel and MCU movies, and the fact that it's too clean and clear cut, and they nerf a lot of their characters and their villains. But if you're gonna put Gore the God Butcher in there, I need to see some gore, bro. And that might sound crazy, but Gore the God Butcher in the comics was a freaking problem.
I'm a motherfucking problem, nigga.
And he's seen multiple versions of Thor, so like whether we were going to get a multiple realities flip where we see Gore initially fight old Thor and see him transition to this one, that would have been freaking amazing. But I don't know, anything would have been better than what we got, man, because Christian Bale, regardless of him being nerfed in this movie, bro, did an amazing job of portraying Gore, like from an aesthetic and vocal standpoint and just acting role. Like Christian Bale, the actor, did an amazing job.
It's true.
But for them to gloss over the fact that Gore was an amazing fighter at first, like he really had to grind to get as strong as he was, bro. And I'm honestly just tired of these half-baked villains, man. Like, let these villains just be that, bro. Everybody doesn't need a freaking happy ending, and it just really kills me at the end of these movies for them to always just chalk it up to like everybody can change. Like, nah, bro. Some people just evil. Trying to adapt these huge characters into not only a compelling story, but also a story that is congruent with the current state of the MCU, probably like one of the biggest equations that is out there in movies. So yes, Gore was good, but they nerfed him, bro, and all the actual butchering happened off screen.
Oh, hell no.
But next up, I gotta talk about Valkyrie or Tessa Thompson, because I love her, right? But
I'm only gonna say this one more time, sir. Calm down.
I wish, bro, we got to see more of how she ruled in New Asgard as king, not just the intro montage of all the things that go into it, right? Because like Valkyrie as a character is very simple, or at least how she's portrayed in these movies. She's always ready for a fight or to be your wingman. So her being used as comedic relief in this movie, and also a plot device in the way that she impacted the two main characters, was cool, right? But I think that initial introduction of Valkyrie and New Asgard could have been way better. And like I said before, seeing how her and Jane Foster work together as a tandem in the midst of Jane learning how to become Thor would have been a lot cooler than what we got. Now, I'm not sure how you fit all that into one movie, but that's just what I think. One thing that I wish they got more into that they did touch on in this movie was Valkyrie's inner demons, right? Because she's a very guarded character, right? But the fact that she probably feels like a super heavy amount of survivor's guilt, which I feel like a lot of Asgardians have because of the whole Valhalla thing, but that in combination of her becoming king could have been something we explored a little bit more in this movie, and Gore pointed it out. But other than that scene on the Shadow Realm, I wish we got a little bit more of that. It just seemed like they skimmed over a lot of stuff. But that's pretty much all I got for the character breakdown. Let's get into the plot. Alright, y'all, so as y'all can tell, man, like this movie so far has been full of disappointments, bro, and the narrative wasn't exempt from that, bro. I mean, for what they kind of promised within the trailer, from the Guardians being in this movie and showing Gore way too early, really didn't give this movie a lot of room to really grow, right? Because they set our expectations super high going into this. Prime example one, having the Guardians being basically just an Uber and only really being in the beginning part of this movie, whereas I thought initially they were going to have more of an impact on this movie. I was completely wrong.
Plans fuck up.
But this is a Thor movie, not a Guardian Galaxy movie, so I can't get too mad at that. And like I said earlier, we've seen Thor on this whole journey, seen him at his highest heights and his lowest of lows. And for this to be the 4th movie and they kept using a gimmick of telling an origin story of Thor that we don't need and never did need because we've already seen it, felt like a waste to me, bro. Like, honestly,
what was the point? I mean, what's the point of anything, really?
I wouldn't have been mad if this was the way they started and ended the movie, right? But this continued to happen throughout the movie, and I was just tired of that loop at the end of it because it didn't really add anything else to the story. And like I said earlier, like, superhero movies are only as good as their villains, and for them to have such a great character and actor in Christian Bale as Gore, I was expecting way more.
What the fuck y'all doing? Y'all rationing around here? Come on, hook me up. 2 little fucking string beans? Give me the goddamn string beans.
We not only had Gore in this movie, we had Jane Foster's mighty Thor. So we could have saw the duality of them kind of growing together and not so much getting the feeling of them kind of just throwing things against the wall and seeing what sticks. This movie was frustrating to watch a little bit because we would get moments of really cool and interesting things, from seeing Celestials in Omnipotent City to going to the Shadow Realm to seeing Zeus and all the other different gods and stuff like that. But having a lot of half-baked goods, man, it sucks, bro, because personally I feel like the motives in this movie were very simple, and that's not always a bad thing. But that, in combination of the pacing being off because they kept repeating scenes and giving context to pointless things like Jane and Thor's breakup that wasn't even congruent with like the old stories and the old movies.
Ain't nobody trying to hear that bullshit, man.
It left me feeling very conflicted in what I watched, bro. And it really just showed me how key it is to have a direction in where you're going, because then you end up with movies like this where it kind of feels more like a Christmas special than the bringing together of 3 incredible stories. Like, man, this joint could have been good, but I don't know. They said Thor is coming back at some point, and hopefully they fix it then. But phase 4 of it is looking real rough right now. Alright, so in conclusion, man, I did enjoy the movie. Like, I'm not going to sit here and fake like I didn't laugh, I wasn't excited, but it just immediately made me feel weird after the fact, because I was like, okay, what did I really just witness? And y'all know me, I be getting hype off these Marvel movies, bro.
Look around you. Look at this. We created this. This didn't exist before we were here. Look around at the square. I promise you right now, we did this.
This was definitely a letdown coming off of Doctor Strange 2. And it showed me now more than ever that we really need a new leader, bro. We need a Captain America. We need an Iron Man. Because really, bro, like, who thought it was a good idea to make Thor dad, bro? Like, come on, like, let's be real. Now, one thing that I don't think was highlighted enough, and just how crazy it is, they definitely kind of like glossed over, and Marvel does this thing where they basically like kind of make you accept things for what they are, and that being Thor being able to share his power with other people like with such ease. Like, it only took a few words for a group of kids to become an army of death, bro. Like, it was freaking crazy, bro. Like, just seeing all these little Thors, and even seeing Jane as Thor, because for as much as I hated those like flashbacks, getting the scene of Thor asking Mjolnir to always protect Jane, and that being the thing that allowed Jane to end up being not only worthy but able to become Thor, made me feel really good. I'm not gonna fake, but bro, we didn't get no Loki in this joint, bro. So it's just, oh my gosh, it's so frustrating, bro, because this joint could have been freaking amazing, bro. It's tough, but let's get into the G-File score, because I don't know, bro. I don't know. Alright, y'all, so I'm at the point where I'm losing my mind, because since I changed the G-File score to being 1 out of 10, right, like, things have gotten a lot more brutal. Because coming out the theater, like when I was first like finished watching the movie, I was like, this joint's an 8. But when I really started thinking about it, I was like, nah, this joint's probably more likely a 7. Like, I'm probably gonna feel like it's a 7. Like, that's what I have written down in my notes, right? It's a 7 out of 10. But I'm gonna be honest, bro, it might be a 6. It might be a 6, maybe 6.5, bro. It's bad. It's real bad, but I'm gonna stick with my initial score and maybe after a second watch when it comes out on Disney Plus, things might change. I don't know, maybe when we get more context to where we're going in Marvel in general right now with phase 4 and phase 5. I just feel like we just got a whole bunch of nothing, bro, and it's weird. I'm still conflicted about it, but if you want to hear me talk more about this, definitely go check out the podcast that'll be dropping this week with the homie Chris. We'll dive super in depth into this movie and you'll get to hear multiple perspectives on it. But that's all I can do for right now, bro, because it just is what it is. But if you like this video, man, hit that like button down below for your boy. If you want to see more videos like this, hit that subscribe button. Yeah, I'm gonna holler at y'all in the next video, man. Y'all be easy, you know the vibes. Always keep growing, so going. This me, boy G. I'm gone. Peace.